Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much to my subscribers. Welcome newcomers. I hope you like what you see, and if so, be part of this journey with us by hitting that subscription button and the bell notification. And thank you so much for your comments and your suggestions. I highly appreciate it. Thank you so much, so much. Also, please, for the newcomers, don't forget to give it those thumbs up if you like the video. It does help to circulate the video. I had finished creating my last video. Believe I uploaded yesterday. For some of you that are my regular, know very clearly what I'm talking about, which was these table runners with 3D flowers. I still have glue flying all over the place here. And some roses on the edges and some growing flowers on the side. Anyway, I had mentioned that I was going to create most probably some doilies, like placemats, or it could be just placed anywhere just to, you know, be a set with these ones. So I'm going to create, the only difference I'm going to do is I'm going to create them in green and then do my roses around with red. So I'm going to be using this 4-ply green, and this is a little bit thicker for some of you that know. This is Beatriz, and this is Ladybug. This is a 4 also, but this 4 is a little bit thicker than my normal 4, which is fine. I mean, it's just going to bring out the pattern a little bit bigger and less stitching, which is perfect. Okay, so I hope you're going to create this and make it as a set yourself. So we're going to get started. So you'd need the red, also size 4, or if you want to make them smaller, you can use a smaller size. And the green and some pearls for the flowers. No, not really. No, I'm not going to do flowers around because it's placemats. Just the roses. Okay, perfect. And please, if you haven't followed me yet on Instagram, the links are below in the description box. You can just click there and follow me through Instagram. If you have any questions, suggestions, you can message me there directly. And if you're creating any of my pieces through my videos, you can send me a picture there with whatever name you use and the country you're from. I usually do videos and post it up for the world to see your creation also. Okay, so we're going to get started. Hook number 3 or 4, depending upon the thread you're going to use. For this one, I'm going to use a 4. If I need to work with smaller thread like this size, I'll use a 3. A pair of scissors, a small hook to tuck in loose ends somewhere here. Okay, and of course, and this is size 3. So we're going to get started, everyone. Thank you again so much. Please do share the videos on your Facebook public. It's important. The more people that get to see it worldwide, the more the channel grows. And thank you so much. And when you do watching these videos, I hope you're not skipping the commercials, because it does help the video. It helps me with the channel. It's no different than watching TV. So please be kind and be a little bit patient. What's 2 seconds or 3 seconds of a commercial, right? Thank you so much, everyone. So the first thing we're going to do is the magic circle, which is very simple. All you have to do is turn, just like that. And you're going to grab your thread, your yarn, whatever you're using, from behind. Okay? So now you're just going to put yourself in position to start your stitch. If you find it too difficult to do this, then you could also just give it a little knot here. Very simple. And that's it. And then grab your thread, your yarn, and put yourself into position. So if this is easier for you, you can close it up a bit. We are going to do, so I did 1 chain, 2, and 3. And 1 more for turning, so that's 4 chains. Double crochet inside of the circle, 1 chain separation. We're going to do total of 12 double crochets. Another thing I want to mention, up top there's 3 little buttons. You can click there, slow down the video to the speed you would like if you find that it's too fast for you. Also up top you have the CC, which is closed caption. If you want to take notes, if people are more used to reading patterns than seeing, well, this is going to help you quite a bit. You can put the closed caption, the CC, on, because I do recordings with it. And you can take notes, read, and see what I'm doing by slowing down the video if it's too fast for you. So you have all these options to create these beautiful pieces easily, okay? Also, please always look ahead of the video before you create any rows, because sometimes there's changes or there's mistakes and I correct them. I don't edit the video. I like to correct it, showing you how we can correct things on the spot or what kind of maneuvers we can do to fix the issue without taking it down. There's so many tricks that go with it. Okay, so do your 12 and I'll come back to you. So I've done my 12 double crochets. I'm going to do 1 chain for separation, and I'm just going to pull on the string and close the hole here in the center. Okay, we're going to come into the 3rd stitch here that we went up 3 and close it in with a slip stitch. So simple as that. And then again, chain 3. For some of you that your chain is too loose, then do only chain 2, sorry. In the same space, we're going to create another double crochet. So now we're going to be increasing our pattern. I have done this pattern quite a few times in a few plate mats, but because I am doing the set for that table runner, so, and a little bit different because the other ones on the plate mat that I created does not have the roses at the end. This one we are doing roses at the edge. Okay, so next space, 2 double crochets together. So now we are increasing. So you should have a total of 24 double crochets because we're putting 2 together on the 12 double crochets from before. Okay, and then I'll show you how we're going to tuck in the loose ends so nothing comes apart. So continue yours, I'll continue mine. Big shout out to my girls, Betty, Charmaine, Nancy, Karen Young, Karen Coffee, and Ella Rose. My God, there's so many of you. It's just so hard to even come up with the names. Lily Hum, anyway, and so on. To all of you, I send you lots of hugs, okay? So let's move on. So we've come to the end. I'm going to close it up again on the 3rd stitch that we went up, the chain 3. Okay, so now you're supposed to have 24 double crochets. Again, we're going to go up 1, 2, and 3. On the next space, we're going to add 2 together. So we're continuing to increase. 1 chain separation. The next space, 1 double crochet. And on the second one, we're doing 2 double crochets together on the same space. So not complicated at all. Now we're going to do this to the desired length. The next few rows will be like this. Nothing changes. We're just going to keep adding 1 on the last one. So we started with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can take the measurements of your plate, see what size you like, and take it from there. You could also look ahead of the video before you do anything and see what I come up with a little bit further up to see if you want to change colors or not and take it from there. So very simple. The next, I don't know how many rows I'm going to do yet, so the next few rows I am going to continue the same way until I decide to have something different. Okay, so I'll meet you a little bit further up, and what you can do is advance the video up. So nothing is difficult here. The next space or the next row. So when you come to the end, you're going to close it with a slip stitch on the third space here, chain 3, double crochet, and on the last double crochet, 2 together. So we started with 1 double crochet, we have 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet. So row 4, obviously, because this is 1, 2, 3, row 4, 4 double crochet, row 5, 5 double crochet, row 6, 6 double crochet, and so on. Okay, so I'll meet you in a bit once I have the desired length that I like. Okay, so I came back to show you a little trick we're going to do. Why? Because as you can see on this one, I missed a double crochet. Supposed to put 2, right? Like here on row 2, and I forgot to put 1 here. So I'm not going to take it down. I'm going to do triple double crochet. I'm going to come from the back into the same double crochet that I missed, that I'm supposed to add 2 together. I'm going to take out 2, take out 2, and take out the last 2. And this way I will have my 2 double crochets underneath and my 3 up here. Nothing changes on the pattern. This is, I mean, I could have done this without showing you, and this is what I mean when I say that I don't edit my videos. If I make a mistake, I come back in and I show you exactly how to do it instead of taking it down. Okay? Okay, everyone, so I pretty much finished doing all my rows, as you can see. So I went up to row 11. So that means I have 11 double crochets separated by 1 chain, always adding 2 on the last double crochet. So we're going to tuck in. For a lot of you already know how I do it, but the newbies don't know, so I have to always show it. So I'm coming in the back here on the center where I have all the loops where I started off, and I'm passing my thread through it with a small hook. Make sure that it goes through. So I can hide this thread and secure it. Now, most of the time, or 99.9% of the time, I make a knot on my patterns just to make sure that nothing comes apart. So in this case, I would take 1. I pass my thread, give it a nice little stretch, and make a knot on it, pass the thread right through it, and pull on it. And then just pass 1 or 2 times more the thread through it so it stays secure. We're good. It's not going to go anywhere. It's perfectly done. Give it a nice little stretch, and there it is. Okay, so going into row 12 now, I'm going to use my cream, tan, beige, whatever you want to call it. Same thing as that one. Okay, because this is a thinner thread, I'm going to use a size 3 hook. And this one, we're only going to do double crochets all the way around, just so we can match up the other pattern. So single, chain 2. So double crochet per space. Nothing to it, very simple. And then once I'm done that, I'm cutting the thread, and I'm going to come in with my multicolored green to create my stems. Okay. So just doing double crochets, 1 per space, coming into that 1 chain space, we're going to do 1 double crochet. I'm going to come in the middle of that chain and then continue on. If you want to go right through it, you can, but I'm not. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so now I'm going to use my multicolored green to do the stems for the flowers. And also going to use my hook number 3 because it is a thinner thread. slip stitch knot. Now you can grab any space here. I'm going to grab the middle one right where the one chain space is. So single and 2 chain and one more for turning. Inside of the same space, I'm going to do another double crochet, 1 chain. So I'm going to have a total of 5 double crochets on the same space. 1 chain again. So I have 4, 1 chain separation, and 1 more. So I have 5 double crochets. I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3. I'm going to see if it's an, if you have to give, if it's too tight for you and you need to give 1 chain separation, then go ahead. 1, 2, 3. Want to see if this is good enough. So let's say we put onto the 3rd space. And then let me just check my pattern there just to match it up. Okay, so I did 1 chain. We've closed in with 1 chain. If you, I'd probably be best to do 1 chain separation here since we are going to build the flowers right up. So 1, 2, 3, single, next space, single. That's 2 singles. Next space, 3 singles. So we have 3 singles. 1 chain. We're going to skip again. 1, 2. On the 3rd space, create our 5 double crochets with 1 chain separation. We're creating the stems for the roses, for the flowers. On the same space, 5 double crochets with 1 chain separation. Again, 1 chain, skip 1, 2 on the 3rd space, single, next space, single, and next space, single. So we have 3 singles, 1 chain, and again 1, 2 on the 3rd space, 5 double crochets separated by 1 chain, all on the same space. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, and we're going to proceed like this all the way around. Okay. Okay, so I'm pretty much done. I've come to the end where I did my 3, and if I skip 1, 2, and I'm supposed to put on a 3rd one, so I have an extra one. It doesn't matter. I started off with this one here, so it doesn't change anything either if there's one extra. You just skip it, cut your thread, and we're going into the red, which is the final row. So as you see, it's very easy. Another thing is whenever you see me creating these type of doilies, any pattern for that matter, and I don't have the actual pattern in front of me, that means that I'm creating as I go in my head. So these are all like just pop-up designs that I create without knowing. I mean, I have a vision, of course, without knowing exactly the results I'm gonna get, but I do have a vision of it, right? Okay, so we're gonna go into the red, people. Okay, so I did my slip stitch knot. I'm using my hook number 4 because this is a thicker thread. So I'm coming in directly into where I have the, which doesn't matter, any space for that matter, in between the double crochets with a single. Now, I'm going to stretch my thread enough, okay, because we're doing the poof, 2 and 3. On the pattern I have 4. I'm only going to do 3 on this because this is smaller, right? So we don't want these flowers to be like huge. The patterns are big, so they can support that thickness of flower, okay? So we did 3. Let me just repeat that. 1, stretch it out. 2, and 3 times. Pull everything right through and a slip stitch through it. Next space. So 1, 2, and 3. Again, just pull right through it and slip stitch. So now we have our 4 flowers here. You're going to turn, grab it in the back one, come into the first stitch that you created your first flower, and do a single. Okay, so now we already have our little cute little rose build up. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to come into the first stitch here. Excuse me. Right here. And we're going to close it. I'm going to close it with a slip stitch because I don't want it to be too thick up top, okay? So I'm going to come in between the poofs again with a single. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to come in the 2 stitches we started the single, and I'm going to slip stitch through it. Next, in between both poofs, right in the center of both of them, single, 1, 2, and 3, and again where we started the single, come right through it and slip stitch. I know it looks funny because we're just starting to work on it now, but once we lay it out, it becomes really nice. Okay, so next space in between the poofs. Well, our hole is getting smaller here and tight because of all the stitches. So single, 1, 2, and 3. Come in where you started the single for your chain and slip stitch. Now we have our first peacock here, so we are going to lock our pattern in the first stitch here of the peacock with a slip stitch, okay? Because we want to close all of this together. Okay, so you're going to have 4 peacocks for 4 puts. Okay, so here's your flower. I'm going to do 1 chain. See if it's going to be enough. I don't want it to be bending, but if I have to put 2 chain, I will. So in the center of the 3 stitch we did here, probably have to do 2 chain. I think it's pulling too much. So sometimes you have to work with the pattern, not against it. So we did 1 chain. Try that again. One and 2, and don't loosen it too much either. We don't want it to be too baggy. So I'm going to come into the center where we have the singles here and do a single. I think this looks much nicer. Okay, and then again 1, 2, and if you want it to be exactly the same thing to have as the pattern, so I'd come from the back like that. Actually wrong, sorry about that. That should pop up the green. I don't want that. Okay, come from the back into the front, bring your thread over and do a single. Okay, grab your other double crochet here from the side to the front and a single again. So you can do the small ones like this, which is these ones here, or you can do these ones. So we're going to see which one looks nicer. So I'm going to try the other one. So you can either do this one. It's 1 rose and one growing flower. Okay, so we have 2 chains. Now I'm going to come in between. I'm going to close it with a single, and I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3. Come back in the same space and close. So it's like a peacock without being without closing in on the first stitch. So next space, single, 1, 2, 3, on the same space, single. So, and next space. I think I'm going to do it this way. I think it looks much nicer. I can see it already. And then back in the same space again, single, and on the last between the two doubles, 1, 2, and 3, and on the same space, single. So now we have a growing flower and a complete rose, right? 1, 2 chain. If it's too much, sometimes we have to do a 2 chain at the beginning just to get it going, and then sometimes after that we do a 1. So come right into the center. So I'm going to do a 1 now. Okay, because especially with this stitch, sometimes when we're doing this type of flower, sometimes, you know, in order for it to lay there properly, sometimes you don't even have to do a chain. Okay, let me see. I think I'm going to leave it without a chain on here, but I definitely have to do the chain on here. So because I'm going to create the rose, that means I need to do at least 1 chain, okay? I'm going to come into the center here, and I'm going to close it with 1 chain, 1 single. I'm going to, nope, sorry. I'm going to come in between. I'm going to stretch 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to hold it all together and pull through and close it with a slip stitch. Next space, 1, 2, and 3, and close it all together again and slip stitch. So now we have 2 poofs. Next space, 1, 2, and 3, and close it all together. So now we have 3 poofs. And the last one, 1, 2, and 3. So close it all together and slip stitch. Now we have the 4 poofs here. So we have our 4 poofs. We're going to turn the pattern to the back. Where we did that 1 chain, or that 2 chain, whatever chain you made. So we're going to come in, and I'm going to do a single. We're going to do 1, 2, and 3. Come where we did the single. I have to grab all the threads together and do a slip stitch. So we have 1 picot coming into the next in between poofs, right in between them. Do a single, 1, 2, and 3. Where we did the single to start off, slip stitch into the next space between the poofs, single, 1, 2, and 3, and again on the first one that we did, the first single to go up, slip stitch in between the last 2 poofs, single, 1, 2, and 3, and where we started off the single, slip stitch. Now we're going to come in the back here, grab our little poof, the first poof we started, and come right on the stitch and pull the thread through it. So we have our 4 picot, okay? And then now we're going to do 1 and 2. This is the only time we do the 2 chain because we need to come to the center here. We don't want the rows to be flip-flopping into one side, so okay, so we're going to do it like that. And then I'm not going to do I don't believe any chain here. I'm going to come directly into the first one here. No, sorry. I'm going to have to do a chain, at least one chain. Okay, and then come into the first space here, like that. Because I don't want it to be pulling. See, if we don't do enough, if we don't do the chain, we want to make sure that it doesn't pull like that. Because if it pulls like that, well, that's not good for the pattern. So you got to make sure, depending upon your stitch, if you do one chain or two, or none, if your stitch is too loose. So I want to make sure that I'm not going to have, you know, some sort of poof like sticking out over here. So I'm going to play with these chains. It all depends. 1, 2, and 3, and then come back in the same place and close it with a single. Next space, the same thing. Single, 1, 2, and 3. Same space, single. Next space, single, 1, 2, and 3 chain. Same space, single. Next space, one single. 1, 2, and 3, and then same space again. Okay, so this is pretty much what it's going to look like. Isn't that pretty? So I can match the other one. Okay, so I'm going to do one chain here because I notice it will pull. So like that. So like this, it won't pull. I'm going to do one chain. If I have to do 2 chain here, then I'm going to do 2 chains. So you play with it. You see if you have to or not. 1, 2, and 3. And close it all together and then slip stitch. I think we should be good. Okay, so if you need to rewind it, then rewind a bit, put it in slower speed, and then take it from there. And then I'll have some pictures at the end together with the table runner and show you how it looks like. I thank you very much to every single one of you that have been part of this journey with me. Okay, so 4 poofs. This will be the last one that I'll do. We're going to come into the first stitch we did here and single. I'm going to go up, chain 3, come into the first stitch we did here, and I'm going to close it with slip stitch. Okay, in between the poofs, I'm going to do a single. 1, 2, 3 chain, come into our single, and we're going to close it with a slip stitch. Again, the same thing into the next between both poofs. 1, 2, and 3, and then close it again. Whoops, with a slip stitch. So now we have 3. I'm going to come in between my last 2 poofs in between them. Single, and 1, 2, and 3. And then where I have my single, I'm going to close it with a slip stitch. Now where we have the first picot, I'm going to come in the picot and close it with a slip stitch. So now we have our other rows complete. I'm going to do 1 and 2 chain. I'm going to come into the center of my single and a single. Again, I'm going to do 1 chain. I'm going to come into the center. Did I grab it properly? Yes. Into the center of between both double crochets and 1, 2, and 3 chain, and back into the same space and a single. So I think this pretty much does it for this tutorial. I think we did pretty good. Don't forget that once you finish, depending upon your stitch too, if you're too tight, then you have to give it a few more chains, okay? And then after, when you're going to press it, obviously everything comes into place. And for some of you that use cornstarch spray, then spray it and it's going to be nice and straight out and flat. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you into the next tutorial. God bless. Please take care of each other and especially yourselves. And please help out with the channel to keep growing. Share the video. Follow me on Instagram. Give it those thumbs up. It's very important. Thank you so much to every single one of you. And I send you lots of love and lots of hugs. Thank you, everyone. Till next time. Bye-bye.